Hey, you getting ready to go on a vacation? Well, you might want to go do something now, but you might want to plan ahead too, and especially about where we're living, because North Texas is about to explode with a couple of more theme parks, and these are aimed to the kiddos.
Yeah, they really are. Look, there's a lot of stuff to do in North Texas, actually. When you look at it from a sports perspective, with FC Dallas and the Soccer Hall of Fame, you've got Arlington, AT&T
You got the
stadiums.
riders, you got the Ford Plaza, Ford Center for the headquarters for the Cowboys. Man, and PGA,
You
man,
got
they
the
are off
PGA.
and running.
You got PGA. You've got the Ranger Stadium, AT&T, which is not only Cowboys, going to host the World Cup. It's had WrestleMania twice. It's got all kinds monster trucks, and I mean there's a
Yeah,
lot of stuff to do and more coming, especially just down the street.
right. Which is getting mixed reviews. I mean,
It is.
granted, I think the whole idea of of the Universal Kids Park, which is depicted behind me, is going to be a great thing for families. That's the good part. The bad side is that they're wrestling with the traffic impact it's going to make on this corridor,
Sure.
because it's a relative in this, folks, it's right across the street from PGA International, and they're already going to be bringing thousands of people in every week to play golf, just to visit the PGA location. Now you're going to have this. Not too far away is a new theme park for the kids, the Peppa Pig theme park. Uh, so I'm glad to see that they're starting to bring in some youth oriented stuff too, because a lot of
Yeah.
this sports stuff has been geared to the older audience.
Well, you've got look, this area where we are right now is family driven. And anybody who doesn't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. It is family driven. It's why people move here, for the schools, for the prices, for the education. Well, I don't know about the prices now, but
Yeah.
um, and all that. Now, the city of Frisco has imploded, well, exploded, might implode. It has exploded definitely in the 10 and a half years, 11 years that I've been here, pushing 12 actually, that I've
Yeah.
been here. I've seen massive changes, massive growth. But here's the thing: this is, and I understand the argument of traffic and cost of living and blah blah blah. I get it, property taxes and this. The traffic sucks. The traffic sucks before these guys. Okay, um, they do. I understand that. I also don't like the fact that what I see in Frisco is every tiny piece of land that they have, they are building on it. I know there's projects that they're in the works right now for more parks and outdoorsy stuff, but for the most part, every green that we don't have enough green in Frisco. It's shrinking. So I have more of an argument with that than them bringing Universal. What did you think was going to happen? I mean, did they want that land to sit there empty, or did you want it to turn into another medical office or 5 strip malls or storage place or apartments? I mean,
The grand plan for the Universal property is, I think that whole property is like 100 acres,
yes.
and I think it's about what, 7 or 8 acres is going to be for the theme park. But they're supposed to be putting in some parks, but they're also going to be putting in several hotels. They're going to be putting in homes. They're going to be putting apartment complexes. They're going to be putting in retail, and all of those means more parking lots, more traffic
Well,
coming into the area.
you got 400 parking spaces that are
Yeah.
going to come to this. Now, this Universal is definitely geared towards younger kids. There's no ride that I believe is over 120 feet in the air, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're
Uh,
right.
um, So and when it's coming, and hopefully it stays on track, Luke will still be in that range that he can appreciate it. Um, I think at least it's a big name, and it's a different name, and it also is bringing a ton of jobs to the
Right.
area, a ton of opportunity for growth and income. And quite frankly, if you live in Frisco or if you live anywhere these days, you got to have some good income because it's hard to just live. So you know what? I say bring it. Look, everybody whines about everything. Like people that are whining are like, oh, Frisco's growing too fast. It's not a small town. When was Frisco a small town? Back when, like, you had horse and buggy?
Yeah, well, if you go back about 20 years, 25 years, yes, North Dallas was the end of the large residential areas.
Sure.
And where we live now was all cotton fields and farmland. Well, that's what's being sold off now, is that's that farmland. And hey, look, if you're the guy that owns that farmland and or grazing land for cattle, somebody comes along with buckets and buckets and buckets of cash and offers it to you,
Take
you're going to
it.
do it. And you don't
Absolutely.
really care what's going to be developed on it. But
No.
well, you said earlier, it's not only going to now start to bring in a lot more tourists and all, but it's also going to bring in a lot more workers that want to live as close to work as possible.
Absolutely.
But I also think and I hope that this is a great opportunity for the state of the art public transportation. They're already
It is.
talking about these monorails and everything, a system that would get people from Dallas and especially from the airports and everything up to this area so that they can avoid having to rent cars or use the highways for that reason. There may be a rapid transit link that gets people up here to that area. That's what Orlando went through when Disney came in the early 70s and everything. That was the theme park, followed by SeaWorld. And then all of a sudden, Universal came in, and now all of the smaller parks are all taking up that whole, mid Florida corridor. I foresee that as maybe happening here in northern Texas, is because it's going to become a severe destination part of the country where people will come for a week or two and just enjoy as many of these parks and amenities as they can.
Well, you've also got the great thing is like if you look at it, you're always looking for those weekend trips, those day trips. Like if you like Texas is huge.
Right.
So if you're down in Austin or San Antonio and you want to go somewhere and you want to go somewhere different, but you don't want to fly out of town, you can come up to this way and you can go to Universal. You can catch an FC Dallas game. You can go visit the Star. You can
Right.
go out to eat. You could go, it's any a Rangers game. You can go to AT&T Stadium. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff here that you can literally make a weekend out of it and then head back to San Antonio. Yeah, you're going to spend the money, but you're not spending it as if you're flying across the country. You're taking extra time off work. You're doing all these things.
Yeah. And again, too, while dad may go over to PGA to play a round of golf, mom, or the kids, if they're old enough, go over to Universal and spend the day there. And then in the evening, the kids can take in something else like the National Gaming Museum, and
Yes.
all while mom and dad want to maybe go take in an FC Dallas game.
That's the thing. You've got the video game museum that's constantly doing amazing things. You've got the train museum. You've got all these cool things. Like I was thinking about it from a perspective of like when this opens and Luke and I go, which inevitably that we're gonna go. Like we're
Right.
just gonna. I'm like, man, I could stay at a hotel and have a good time, just to get away for the night. But then I'm also like, why bother?
Yeah.
I could literally drive home. I
I
mean,
mean,
in like
everything will be within easily, with all of this stuff that we're talking about, is easily within probably 30 minutes of our homes.
I pass this thing where it's going to be, depending on where I'm going, when I'm going up north or I'm
Yeah.
going to Kenny. I mean, it's a matter of miles from the house, and even with traffic, it's no different than getting out of an FC Dallas game.
Well, that's true. And I got to say, I think we should give kudos to our police force and everything here too. When there is a game and they can control the flow of traffic from their command center at the main police station. I've been in that room. It's absolutely incredible, and they can actually control the traffic so that if they need to get people out Main Street away from the stadium, they will allow those traffic lights in that direction for a little extended period of time to move more traffic out. And they can physically do that from a control center. Pretty cool. And that's kind of state-of-the-art stuff itself.
Well, you also brought it up. You brought up the police force. Look, putting these things in place, police are now going to have to hire more people,
right?
Which is fine. Which, I mean, isn't that what we want? The fire department have to hire more people. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not seeing a bad thing there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just looking over your shoulder and looking at that Tyrannosaurus Rex and all. They just opened up the new public library here, which is one of the best in the country. And they have a replica of a full-size replica of a Tyrannosaurus Rex right in the main hall of the new library. And again, here we're talking about a library, folks, but it is becoming a tourist destination too, because you can go and see these things, you can eat there, you can have meetings there and all. So the idea is the more that is developed, and we're zeroing in on where we live and all, but all over the country, when they're starting to develop new things now, they're trying to keep a broad family type idea in mind to make it more than just one specific use.
The biggest thing, I think, and the library is amazing. Luke and I have been there twice already. The biggest thing I have with at least us, and I think in a lot of cities or a lot of towns that are booming, is we're seeing these big things, which are great. But I think if they would focus more on the smaller stuff, and I'm not talking about like 15 Starbucks that we don't need. I'm talking about the downtown area. If you would focus more on developing the downtown areas in a way that fits for the downtown, again, I don't want a CVS in the middle of downtown Frisco. Right. I don't want to see it anywhere, but if they could develop that more, and it's hard because the way it was designed, because it wasn't designed for all this population, but there's a way to do it. If you can do that while still keeping the old homes, the people that live there, the small businesses, and make that viable. And I know they're trying. They haven't succeeded yet, but they're trying. I think once we get, because let's not forget, we are getting 2 breweries in Frisco, Texas. So, we're starting to develop those things. One of them's already established, moving to Frisco, and one of them's popping off brand new in Frisco. That's a big deal, because if you don't develop that little downtown vibe, you're gonna. That's how cities don't make it.
And I honestly, I foresee that as an opportunity for those small, independently owned and operated businesses and restaurants and cafes and coffee shops and everything, is because when all of this moves out into the burbs, into the areas where they're trying, just as they did when they built in the 70s, when they built the major malls all over the country, getting people out of the downtown areas and out to these regional malls. Now I think what it's doing is, because all of this growth outside of the Main Street USA, this is going to now afford maybe an opportunity in those small brick and mortar locations on those main streets for that independent coffee shop, that bakery, those little mama papa pharmacies and everything to locate, because the space that's available is more manageable. They don't need 5,000 square feet for their business. They can operate in a smaller area. As well as I do, right almost across the street from you is a coffee shop that is it's an oversized closet, but man,
It's small.
the
It's too.
business is just constant.
They,
And
they need they need to get the next door building that's empty, and they
right,
need it, because
right.
that coffee shop, their other locations aren't as small. I don't know if they just didn't. I don't know, but there's times that I love them, and they know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's times that I just don't. I won't even bother.
Yeah. And that's true with these small eateries, that, these little taco shops and everything. This gives that small independent operator the opportunity, as they redevelop these main street areas in these small towns. If there's a small town square that's been virtually empty for a decade or so, now little by little, this is an opportunity for new small, because there's people like us that yeah, we're going to go to the Universal, we're going to go to Peppa Pig Park and everything, but we also maybe want to go and just have a nice hot dog or a burger or something in a small shop where there's, 2 3 waitresses and a guy on the grill. That's something worth enjoying and participating in also.
Yeah, you're right. 100%.
Yep. So, folks, come to North Texas. You can come now because there's plenty to do now, and there's going to be even more to do later. And
True. Very true.
there's going to be even more to do next week at 8 o'clock on Tuesday morning. I don't know what we're going to talk about yet. We'll talk afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. And see. All right. Go make it a good week. Bye.